Hello again. It's Tuesday morning before work. As you watch this video, the clock's ticking. I've got less than 4 weeks to go to get the buses ready for the bus show. And even though they look ready, they're not. There's still a little bit of work to do on the deck, some pinstriping fixes and things like that. And I still want to do a lot more road testing in this to be absolutely sure that mechanically she's all right to make the trip in and back, especially that cooling system. So I've had a lot of comments from people, thank you, comments on the videos, private messages even, telling me the same thing. However you do it, you have to try and get that shroud on that radiator, and I completely agree. Even if I can just get the bottom part in, it's all about protecting the fan and protecting the radiator, and also making the radiator as efficient as possible. If I can get both halves in, I will. So that's why I'm here right now before work, making the most of the time that I have to try and get this thing sorted out. As you can see, there is the problem. It's come away from those very piss weak welds. This is the part that mounts to the radiator. This is the shroud. As it is right now, it's fouling up. It's kind of broken away and sprung back, and it's in the path of the fan. Today, I'm going to clean this up, get it ready to weld, try and get down tonight after work and see if I can get a decent weld on there. My welding is still pretty rubbish, but hopefully get some sort of fix. There's not a lot of area there to get clamps on and whatnot, but we'll try and work that out and get it sorted out. So that is the first job in this episode of Steve Stuff. Not the easiest thing to work on. I've had to crack out the Super Deluxe IKEA workbench. I don't think this grinder, the cutting wheel, is the best for paint stripping. I'll just swap the wheels out. Righto, so that should now give me the best chance to make a good bond with the welder. I've also noticed that up here, a weld has come loose there as well. I might just run a pop rivet through that. Right, that's all ready to have a crack at tonight. So I found on this side, this had come out as well. It's not a whole lot of area there, but I've cleaned that up as well. Give that a go. And this side, there's a little bit of crap in the bottom there I've missed. I'll get in there again with the grinder, but that's ready to go. I'll come back tonight after work and see how we go. There's my face. I nearly didn't come down because there's two concerts at Olympic Park tonight. Olivia Rodriguez and The Weekend. Anyway, traffic everywhere, but I managed to get through it. I've got 30 minutes, 40 max of daylight, and I jammed myself up into the corner here because I just could not be stuffed getting a power, extension cord out. So plug the welder straight in. Gonna give this a crack. Don't know how it'll go, haven't welded for a while. We're gonna find out now. Finally get to use my new electric goggles. Well, I'm not embarrassed to show you that that is shit, but it's all welded. See, my trouble with welding is I can't see what I'm doing. My eyes just don't like the masks and the bright sparks. But anyway, and I think someone needs to come and set my welder up properly. The wire's running out too quickly. I think it's too hot. Anyway, at least I didn't blow away the material I was welding. It is terrible, but it's not going to fail. It'll hold. And then the other side, similar story. But, you know, I'll paint that and who's going to see it there? What ugly weld. Go through there. No, the top is not going to work. I have managed to get the bottom one in though.
There's people working on buses everywhere here. I can get the bottom one in and I just can't get the top one in, so I think maybe just the bottom might be better than nothing. Now I've got to try and bolt it in and see if the shroud's completely out of the way of the fan. Here we are. I've got half a shroud. You can't even see that, can you? No, you can't. How's that? Is that better? Yeah, so I've got the bottom on. But I just can't get the top in there. So at least that's better than nothing. It looks to be clearing everywhere. So, oh, hang on, we might have a clearance issue there. Damn. Well, we both heard that. Have another look. So it's hitting just here on the bottom swing. What I did when it was running well just then is I chopped out with a screwdriver, I just chopped out this here, which brings that down a touch, and it was working fine. And then the screwdriver vibrated out, and that's when it started to hit again. So what I'll do is I'll chock it out properly with some washers and some rubber and tighten it all up, and then we shouldn't have any clearance issues. Again, it's only half a shroud, but I'm hoping it'll be enough to A, protect the radiator from stones, and B, direct enough air into that radiator. I mean, this bus isn't going to do a lot of work, but I want it to be as efficient as possible. So it's dark, time to go home. So just a little side job. It's Friday morning, it's a nice day, and I've just run up to the hardware store to get a few things, including the rubber that I was talking about, that I wanted to just put along this edge section. That's the stuff there. It's like a U shape. I've just measured it out. I'll cut that and show you what I'm talking about. And there we go. I'm sure you'll agree that creates a nicer finished looking end. I'll just go and do it to the other side. There we go. Now, the only thing I need to do now to finish off this whole front end job is to just touch up bits and pieces that are a bit rough, need some paint. So all in due course. Another quick job I need to do today is measure this. This doesn't work. The same as in the double decker, but I put a satellite speedo in that one. If you go back to those videos, you'll see it's in the dash. There's no holes anywhere. I don't want to cut any holes. I mean, that air gauge there is obsolete, but I think there are airlines going to it that I'd probably have to crimp or join. I don't want to bother with that. So I'm trying to find, I think this is 100 mil. The closest I can get is 110 mil online. But anyway, I just wanted to measure this and see if there's some fix. Without the speedo in there now, I can measure the hole I need. So that's 95 by the look of it. Yeah. So now I've got to go back and look at what's on eBay and see if anything will fit into a 95mm hole, and if not, how much I would have to enlarge that by, because I don't have a lot of space, as you can see, to hone that out any further. I don't even know how I would do that. So that actually looks like about 90, I can't get the bloody ruler flat. Yeah, 95 or 96, yeah, it looks like 95. Okay, Saturday afternoon, I finished work and I'm about to pick up a couple of jobs where I left them on the Merlin today. Down there, the radiator, I've got to get in there and I need to shim it out a bit to stop it hitting at the bottom, and also the speedo in the dash. There's been developments with this, the size of the hole and what I can actually get online, so I'll explain all that when I get to this bit. For now though, I am going to put some fuel in the tank, a little bit of fuel additive as well to keep the algae at bay, kick her in the guts, Barry, get her out there onto that concrete where it's a little bit easier to crawl around than it is there, that dirt. So let's get stuck in. Okay, I thought I had a measuring cup, but I don't. It's a paint measuring cup, so it's a ratio cup, not like a millilitres. So the instructions on that diesel additive says 1 mil per litre of diesel. Now, I've got about 70 litres in there. I worked that out the other day. Well, it's probably less than that now after that drive, but we'll go with 70. I've got a jerry can, a 20 litre jerry can full of diesel I'm about to put in, so that'd give me 90, let's say 80 just for safety. So I've got 80 litres in the tank. 1 mil per litre means I need to put 80 mil. Now, this is a 600 milliliter water bottle. This is my ruler, and I'll see if I can show you this. That is pretty much exactly 6 inches, which means 1 inch is 100 mil. So just under 1 inch will give me the 80 I think that I need and shouldn't cause me any problems. How's that for logic? Old man was a maths teacher. Now, of course, I couldn't find a marker, so tape is just as good. That is 1 inch, equal to 100 mil, because 6 inches on the ruler is 600 mil. I just explained all that. So just under that should give me 80. Here's the stuff. Thank you, Andrew, for giving me this. Now I've got to try and get that into there. Down the hatch. That's not going to work. Well, that's a long way from home, but he'll do the job perfectly. And before you ask, I did clean out the inside of that witch's hat first. Hardly made a dent really, but at least I know there's plenty in there. Now, something else that's just occurred to me, I was just about to start the thing up and get him out, keep calling it her. I can't start the bus up yet because I've got a fan that hits the shroud. I've got to shim that out first. So unfortunately, I've got to climb in on that rocky ground and get under there, and I'll go and find something to make some shims out of. still hitting. Not as badly, but it's still hitting. Trouble is I can't tell where it's hitting because I can't turn this. More thinking required. I can't shim it out any further because really I'll have nothing left, no thread left on that stud. It's not a very long stud. Maybe if I shim it out the other side, that might help. I just wanted to see if it hit whilst accelerating, if there was any kind of movement in that angle drive or the fan. I think I can still slightly hear something tick, tick, tick tapping. If it's where I think it is, it's right at the very bottom. So what I can either do is notch it out, because I don't have any more room left on those studs to shim out any further. I'll think about it. And I'll just let this charge up for a bit. I don't want to drain the batteries by starting it too often. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Remember my little mate, this little bit of scrap steel bracket I found the other day and I butchered to hang that mirror? There. Come in handy again. That's where the shims came from. So what I'm going to do is just put a piece of tape where I think it's hitting. I'm not going to run the bus anymore today. I've got inside things to do, but I'll try it tomorrow. The other reason I'm not going to get it out now is there's another coach. The fella's got his coach out, he's washing it, so I don't have enough swing around room. I'll put a piece of tape around the bottom of that shroud there, and we'll soon know if it's hitting because it'll wear the tape away. So I'll try that. And done. So this is where I think it's hitting here. It's got clearance, but you know, as the fan flexes, as it spins, I've just got a sneaking suspicion it's very slightly touching. So bit of tape there. If it's hitting, I'll see it. All this here, see all this. This is from when it overheated, when the radiator was blocked last year when I went to Busfest. I've got some of this. I've already tried a little bit there. I'm just going to try and get the bulk of that off because it looks awful. The other job today is to get in behind, tidy up all the wiring in that dash there, give it all a clean up, explain to you what I've been looking for with a speedo and what I came up against and what my solution is. I was thinking I wouldn't mind taking that bottom cushion home and recovering it, but I've just remembered it's all one piece. It's not like the Atlantean where the bottom cushion comes out. So that can wait. First of all, this has got to come off. I wanted to get a round speedo. Now, that's 95 millimeters. The speedo itself is 100, the hole's 95. All I can get in a clock style speedo in the GPS setup is 110 millimeters that needs a 108 millimeter hole. So I've pretty much determined that I don't have enough meat here either side to enlarge that hole, and to be honest I don't know how I would do it anyway, so I'm not going to go with it. I still want to pursue this. I'd like to get a clock style speedo in there that does actually work, but what I've bought is a little digital one. It'll just suction cup down here onto the side, so whilst you're driving, you just got to quickly glance and you'll be able to see what speed you're going. I've ordered that. It also comes with a dual USB port, so I'll be able to charge my phone while I'm driving, which is always a bonus. These were too small for the hole, so I just got a rubber grommet and used it as like a backing plate, if you like. So I'm going to take the orange out and go with the green on both sides. So it's just a very simple switcheroo. Oh no, hang on, we don't need the body in there. Just need the exterior part. Pop that back on there. Job done. So now we've got 2 green indicators, which is perfect. Okay, so that's all tightened up and tidied up. That'll stay there for the moment. It's sitting out a bit at the bottom, but once the steering wheel goes back on. So I've got green indicators now. That's the start button, which doesn't work. Stop button, and that's been disconnected. I think I'll just put the steering wheel back on now and give this a tidy up. I need some help from you English guys. This is under the driver's door. I've just undid all the screws and I actually can't get the front off. What is this? It's CAV, so it's something to do with the electrics or possibly the transmission, I'm not sure. Because at the moment I don't have a master relay that's working, which is why the start button's not working. I'm trying to trace it and see what needs to be checked, cleaned, whatever. So if anyone can tell me what's in there and how to get this front off, that'd be great. I think I noticed the other day when I was washing the bus, in certain light you can see this lumpy repair I've had to do. It's not ideal, but I'll try and find a photo to show you, but there was a big notch cut out here and over there. Kirkland's in Lismore put a rear bumper on this, so I had to try and fix the notch. It's too hard. I mean, if all of these weren't there, it would have been easy just to resheet the thing, but it's not. So I've repaired it as best I could. Most of the time it looks okay, but in some light, and you can see some of the paint starting to crack there now because you've really got to kick this thing in the guts to get it to sit in. Not perfect, but I mean, the bus isn't perfect. There's panels that I should have spent more time on, but I don't want it to be perfect. It's 56 years old, but I just thought I'd explain that if you noticed that in the last video. I've got all the covers back on, and that's going to do it for today. I'm going to go home and watch a bit of supercars. It's Bathurst Light this weekend. The Gold Coast round of the supercars, always an exciting race. So I'll go and have some beers and watch that. Tomorrow I'll come down and I might give this thing a good clean on the inside. I'll give it a birthday on the inside because you know what? Tomorrow's my birthday. Da 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 da. Yes, it's my birthday. 1 year older, 1 year dumber. And a beautiful day. I've just been up and bought some bits and pieces. I was at the car place and they had the size rubber hose I need. They were all clearing them out for $5, so I scooped up 3 of those. They're all bent to fit certain cars and things, but I should be able to cut them up and use them to replace all of the, you know, the rubber ends that are on the end of the brass pipes that are in that engine bay. I can do that. I bought some new clamps, just try and tidy up. There's a couple of tiny little weepy drips I want to sort out. Also got some cleaning products. So even though it's mine, the buses will get a birthday today. Look at him gleaming in the sun. They're such a good looking bus. I think that's why I remember this from my childhood. I remember it going down my grandmother's street when I was, you know, a young kid. And it was like nothing we'd ever seen in Australia. You know, with the flat front and the rear engine and just the curved stylish roof. So they are an attractive vehicle. So good to see it in such good nick. Except for where you can see I need to do some body work, but I mean that adds to the character. So what I'm going to do, I've got the panels off again. I'm going to get in there and just tighten everything up. That bit of tape I put on to see if the fan was going to hit it, what do you think happened? It blew off. But I didn't hear any hitting, any tapping, anything, so I think that's good. I'll triple check it. The radiator hose pieces that I bought, I'll see if I can replace a couple of the ends that are in there, and then I might just spray some degreaser on this, give it a hit with the pressure washer. Turns out these, even though I thought they were the right size, they're 1 3/4 inch. Turns out they're too small. One thing I do need your help with though, and these Merlin gurus, I know there's a few of you that have commented on the videos that you used to work on these things. What's that? There's the fuel shut off, which I've never touched. That's a switch of some sort, and all the wires have been cut. Now, it's very suspiciously around near the starter circuit. I'm just wondering if this is the reason my starter button doesn't work. I don't want to touch it until I know what it is though, so if anyone can help, just comment. Thanks. Sometimes I'm just an idiot and forget to turn the camera on, so I've just degreased and I didn't pressure wash it, I just used the hose. Done all that, cleaned all the rust off it with the CLR from when it overheated last time, but I've just done all that and I forgot to film it. So the fact that it's wet and dripping means you know I've done it, and it looks better. Now while I wait for that to dry, I will start doing the interior. First job, try and get that seat out and see if I can't recover the base, because it's looking a bit, well, there's duct tape there. We've got to do better than that. These doors, I need to chalk this open. They have got such a powerful spring hinge. It's really hard to chalk it open. Result, didn't need to take the seat out. It was just held in there by a couple of bolts, and those that knew that were probably yelling at me. So I did work that out and remembered from last time. That's a bit grotty. I'll give that a clean out and lubricate it up. It's all working though. You can see the shabby, terrible, half-assed job that somebody's done. It was me! Of course it was me. Just with what I had lying around, which wasn't enough. So now that I've got a whole roll of some good red, I'll try and do this a bit better. And now I remember why I recovered it. That's the side that was facing the window all those years sitting in the paddock. That and the fact that it's blue. Got this from a mate of mine in Tarese, an upholsterer, has been for years. I walked in and I said, have you got any old vintage red? And he went straight out and grabbed this, let me have it cheap. And he actually used to use it on Egan's buses back in the day. He said, I've got some blue and some green somewhere. I must go and hit him up and see if he's still got those. So there she is. Not perfect, I'm not an upholsterer, but that's the side that faces the door. So that's the side the passengers see, or actually no one sees unless the door's open, but I'll go and pop that back in. Years and years of that window being open. I think it was broken, and that's weather and dirt blowing in there under that seat cushion over the many years that it was open to the elements. I'm just going to go and get a brush fitting for this. Okay, I'll squirt some lubey stuff down in there and we're good. Actually, you know what? Maybe a little light coat of paint. Like brand new. So that's nicely lubricated now and she'll adjust nicely. It's a little bit of play in that. I was unable to sort that out. There's an adjustment bolt, but I'll have another go. Driver's cab, done. Never mind the jacket. So that seat looks good. It's nice and secure now. Winds up and down nicely. Everything's, I vacuumed it, wiped everything. Actually, you know what? There's one thing I could do to finish it off. How's that? Much better. Just been wrestling with the radiator and I got that sock out. You can't really see it, but there was quite a lot of dirt and I don't know, stony looking crud in there. I think it all fell out when I just picked it up, but yeah, it did its job. Hopefully now everything's gone and hopefully that top hose will hold again, because it's a bugger of a thing to get on, and the Jubilee clip, I can't get it any tighter. As you can see, I've made a mess, but nothing now. There's that clamp there I was talking about, the hose clamp, Jubilee clamp, whatever you call it. Nothing seems to be dripping now. There's water in there. I'll start her up and see what happens. Just sitting having a birthday beer and letting that run. You can see I've moved it off the mess that I made so I can see any new wet spots. There doesn't seem to be any. I'm a little worried about that top hose, the clamp. There's not a lot of pipe for the rubber to grab on, so I think I've got the clamp right at the very end. It's as tight as it'll go, but nothing is dripping. I'm just waiting for the thermostat to open and go and top it back up again and see how it's travelling temperature-wise, but as far as leaks are concerned, I don't want to jinx it, but it looks all right. I'm not really getting any gauge of how it's going. It doesn't seem to be getting hot. They rarely do overheat when they're idling. When it was overheating last time, I was told to pull over and let it idle and it would cool down. The coolant was slowly rising up through the top tank to the point where it wanted to start dribbling out. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe there's the thermostat hasn't opened or something, I'm not sure. Hopefully not a blockage anywhere. What I'm going to do is just run it down to the bottom yard, drive it around, bring it back, see what happens. Okay, so temperature's moved up a tiny little bit, probably sitting on maybe 65 degrees right now. The coolant level has dropped down into the top up hose pipe. I think it's fine. Nothing's leaking. Might just do that a couple more times and see what sort of warmth it gets up to, you know? Righto, so I've done that a couple of times. Temperature gauge there isn't moving. I'm starting to wonder whether that works or not. What's a little bit disturbing is the oil pressure has dropped a little bit since it was idling. It was idling at about 25 psi. The temperature gauge in the dash is telling me it's sitting up around 65. Still no leaks. So I might have a mouthful of beer. I'll do that again and I'll bring you with me this time. I get to show you how to use the little electric gear changer here. It's the same deal as the Atlantean, except the Atlantean's air assisted and this is power assisted. So what we're doing is, I'm a little bit reluctant to go out on the road today because I'm here by myself and there's no one to come and save me if anything goes wrong. So I'm just running around the yard, revving it and changing gears like I would on the road. I'm just not leaving the safety of this area in case, just in case. That'd spoil a birthday, wouldn't it? Right, so I'm up into first there. Sitting on probably, yeah, it's about 60 degrees. The alternator seems to be overcharging though. I'm getting 28 volts on the gauge. Don't know what that's all about. Righto, so give her a little bit of herbs. Just before I back off the throttle, drop that gear stick into neutral, then back off and then down into second. Got a speed hump here. Same again, up into neutral, off the throttle, into third. Try not to hit Michelle's car. And give it some herbs. Into second. Now we're going to do a 3-point turn. Into neutral, foot off the throttle, into second, and power on. Into neutral, foot off the throttle, into third. Back into second, over the speed hump. Tyres are starting to feel better. Maybe they just need a little bit more use. I've made some inquiries into new ones. They're about $400 each, and then I've got to get them fitted. So, up just a B stick. Still seeing 28 volts on the voltmeter though. That's a bit weird. Okay, so. Use your ears, get up to the revs you think you should change gear at, drop her into neutral, off the throttle, and then into second. Exactly the same as I drive the Pneumo Cyclic, as I was taught by my friend Scott. Places the least amount of stress on the transmission. Back off, second. Neutral, back off, third. And I think that's where we'll leave this video. I go home and spend the rest of my birthday with a beer and or more, and watch the supercars. I think I've done everything I can do here today. It's quite warm. I'll just pack up and go and chill out. So I'm happy with the way it's running. Seems to be sizzling along okay, not getting too hot. There was a little bit of crud in that sock, so I'm glad I put that in there. We'll do the same thing next week. I was just a bit funny about going out on the road today in case something went wrong. And that's why I'm doing this, because come Busfest time, it's only about a 25-minute run in, but it's all motorway. It's all at speed, and I'll have a friend driving this one, so I don't want anything to go wrong. If anything does go wrong at 80, 70 miles an hour, as if it could do it, 70 k's an hour, things can get messy. So, and I'm worried about things like tyres and whatnot. So next week, I'll just keep testing this. Might take the Decker for a spin and maybe get the paint out. Both buses need touching up in some areas. The Decker where the stripe tape has bled, and this one where I blew paint off it with the pressure washer when I washed it the other day. So that'll do me for now. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. I'm over 900 subs now. I only need about 90 more to get to that 1,000, and I can start making a couple of dollars a month from YouTube. Tell your friends as well, and keep an eye on the Facebook page. I'll post updates there. Until next time, I haven't got a beer. It's over in the back of the car. So until next time, cheers. See you soon on Steve Stuff.